I always give all his credit, no, but we need to run it back. That's why my tough, when after the fight, I say we need to run it back this fight, because I don't feel the way I really want. And I need to make this fight happen again, no? And it's gonna be different. I think for him to deserve all the credit, he need to give me the rematch, obviously. But I will. He decided to retire, and we need to accept that and move forward.
You know what? Sometimes you try and your body cannot go, right? That's my frustration. Maybe I can figure out Crawford, but my body cannot go anymore. So I try it, but my body just not let me go.
I have a burning question for you that I think everyone wants to know. Is there going to be a Canelo rematch? Is there a rematch clause? That's something you're thinking about?
I'm not even thinking about that right now. And quite frankly, I don't think it is a rematch clause. And if it is, nothing has been said to me about fighting him again or anything.
Do you think Canelo would want to get back in the ring with you? Or do you think it's better for him to just or more lucrative to go fight elsewhere for the rest of his career?
I think it would be better for him to fight somebody else, because my style is just, a bad matchup for him.
Terence Crawford is coming off a career-defining showing, and he has made his position crystal clear. He has spoken openly and firmly about Canelo Alvarez calling for a rematch, and he is not entertaining any explanations or justifications. Crawford believes he already demonstrated the strategy, discipline, and mental strength needed to break down the Mexican star in a true battle, rather than simply lasting the distance. For him, this moment is not only about protecting what he has achieved, it is about earning full respect and putting an end to every excuse moving forward.
Did you watch the Terence Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight?
Yeah, I did.
Ooh, talk about slick. Oh my goodness. Who's ever done that? Who's ever jumped up 2 weight classes like that? It's crazy.
Scary.
He's so clever, and it got to the point where he got so comfortable, he's like pit-patting him, and then like, what? And you're watching, like, this is amazing.
Like, that's history, obviously. You shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to fight at that weight for the first time ever.
Against one of the greatest
greatest of all time, and do what you did. You're beyond an outlier. You're an anomaly.
Terence Crawford achieved what many believed was impossible by climbing several divisions to challenge the naturally larger Canelo Alvarez. Rather than circling away or trying to merely endure the rounds, Crawford delivered a tactical showcase. He met Canelo head on using smart positioning, precise counters, and elite defense that left the super middleweight champion shaken and visibly frustrated. What stood out even more was Canelo's response afterward. At the post-fight press conference, he made no complaints and offered no justifications. He accepted the defeat, acknowledged that he could not solve the challenge in front of him, and even stated publicly that Crawford performed at a level he considered beyond Floyd Mayweather Jr. It was a clear display of respect without debate.
And lastly, for me, champ, in the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Only a few months later, that earlier acceptance has disappeared as Canelo Alvarez has changed his explanation for the defeat, and many fans are questioning the shift. He now says his body failed him on fight night, pointing to serious leg cramps, elbow problems that later required surgery, and even a lack of focus. As reasons the bout did not unfold his way, the combat sports world rarely shows sympathy for reversals like this, and social media reacted quickly, with many online comparing the situation to Deontay Wilder and his well-known costume explanation. The contrast feels sharp, especially from a fighter who built his reputation on avoiding excuses. Matters became more complicated when Canelo began insisting that Terence Crawford owes him a second fight. He stated on a podcast that a rematch in September is necessary for Crawford to receive full credit. However, from a contractual standpoint, there was no rematch clause. In their original agreement, Crawford intentionally left out both a return option and any rehydration restriction because he wanted Canelo at his strongest, with no questions attached to the outcome. Now, with Crawford set to retire in December 2025, Canelo appears to be searching for leverage that is not part of the deal.
for. He was given a lot of credit. There's no rehydration clause, blah, blah. Oh my God, Bud's such a fighter. I'm up here making the argument. See, no excuses. He doesn't need a Mayweather rehydration clause. But really, why did he do all that? Because if you want the shot, you got to do it according to Canelo's terms.
Yes.
He still beat Canelo comprehensively and decisively. In the rematch, Crawford would be within his rights to say, okay, wait a minute. Now there's going to be a rehydration clause. Now there are going to be some things that favor me. And once that happens, it's just going to get worse for Canelo.
I wouldn't like that for Crawford's legacy. I don't think I know, but character.
If you were Canelo, if you were Crawford, like, I understand what you mean. I already proved my point the first time. All right, you want the rematch? Okay, but now it's going to be on my conditions.
Because maybe different money terms. Say you want parity and money, which obviously never has been with Canelo, stuff like that.
See, that's my thing. You begging for this fight, and you go on these shows where
I don't think he's begging for it either.
He's not begging.
I've never.
You know what? Shady loves to say that. Oh, why did you get into it with fighters? You know why? Because I interact with the fighters. Let's get Canelo here, and then you say this to Canelo.
I don't care about that.
Many would assume that a massive financial offer could convince any retired boxer to return, but Terence Crawford has shown he operates by different standards. Reports began circulating that Saudi official Turki Alalshikh was prepared to present a staggering $100 million proposal to tempt him into a rematch. For most athletes, that type of opportunity would be impossible to refuse, yet Crawford's reaction surprised the boxing world. He declined without hesitation, making it clear that money alone would not influence his decision. He emphasized that his principles and self-respect outweigh any paycheck, reinforcing the image of a champion who is not motivated solely by financial gain.
Don't got $100 million for me, don't even talk to me about it. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to hear. Basically, let me translate, because we know Crawford don't like to do too much trash talking. He likes to keep it clean. What Crawford is saying to Canelo, the price on your head for a rematch is $100 million, because he already collected it last time. So is not going to go with the rematch. Talk is cheap. With Crawford being the A side, with Crawford getting the lion's share, with Crawford getting fair judges, mainly, Canelo is going to say, hell nah, to the no rematch. I'm telling you, he's going to start speaking English again. We haven't heard Canelo speak English for a minute now, I think. As soon as they show Canelo Alvarez the realistic terms on the contract for the rematch, he's gonna wake up to reality.
The deeper reason Terence Crawford is stepping away from such an enormous payday is far less glamorous than people assume. When speaking about a possible rematch, he explained that the 36 minutes in the ring are not what concern him. The real toll comes from the brutal training camp required to prepare for a physically larger opponent. Months of punishing workouts, constant strain, and pushing his limits place lasting stress on his body. He understands that this kind of preparation carries long-term consequences instead of risking permanent damage. For another headline event, Crawford is choosing to protect his health and focus on a future where he can live comfortably with his family rather than chase one more paycheck that could leave lingering injuries long after the applause fades.
Boxing is not all about knocking somebody out. Yes, that's part of it. That can happen, but boxing is a sport where you can outpoint somebody too. That's why they go to the scorecard.
I appreciate that take, bro. That's real educated, man, real thoughtful. But you ain't had a decision win in a long time, bro. You known for like being a great finisher. So I appreciate that, but that ain't how you moving though.
Right.
Please explain that to me. You just saying overall.
Yeah, overall.
You say, hey, I like to do this, but this is not for everybody.
It's definitely not, because it's a price to pay. It's definitely a price to pay when you fight those type of fights.
Yeah.
When everybody thinks nothing going on.
Yeah.
But all them punches add up.
Yeah, buddy.
All them punches add up.
He ain't got a bruise or nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't take no punishments. Like, bro, my head hurt.
Your head hurt.
I'm in this room right now trying to get right, and y'all chilling, partying downstairs.
Yeah, like all them punches add up. Punches in sparring add up. All them punches add up, and when one is good one day, and then it just all hit him out of the blue. He ain't even boxing no more. It just hit him, and then people be like, "Man, you all right, man? Yeah. What's wrong with you?"
You never know when that's gonna happen.
You never know. It's gonna come.
Yeah. stay
you never
around
know.
long enough. Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, dang. You know what I mean? Is you all right? Yeah, I'm good. You might start slurring a little bit. You might start forgetting a lot of things.
Yeah.
You might get a little dementia. You might keep repeating the same thing over and over, you know, and you don't even know it, you know. But that's from all that accumulation of punches to the brain.
But I know you probably have too. I done been in the presence of fighters, bro, where that stuff is happening. And I'm like, where they say something to you and they just told you 2-3 minutes earlier, you like, brother, you just said that.
Definitely.
That's scary to me.
Definitely.
That's scary to me.
I look at all.
Rather than engaging in a public back and forth, Terence Crawford has chosen a different approach, complete silence. While Canelo Alvarez continues appearing on podcasts to voice his frustrations, Crawford has declined to respond at all. That quiet stance has frustrated critics because it gives them nothing to react to following his landmark when Crawford asked the crowd what more could be said, and that statement now carries even more weight by. Avoiding the noise, he keeps control of the narrative, allowing his clear, unanimous decision triumph to stand on its own, while Canelo is left addressing questions without a reply from the man who beat him.
I have a burning question for you that I think everyone wants to know. Is there going to be a Canelo rematch? Is there a rematch clause? That's something you're thinking about?
I'm not even thinking about that right now. And quite frankly, I don't think it is a rematch clause. And if it is, nothing has been said to me about fighting him again or anything.
Do you think Canelo would want to get back in the ring with you? Or do you think it's better for him to just or more lucrative to go fight elsewhere for the rest of his career?
I don't know. I think it would be better for him to fight somebody else, because my style is just, you know, a bad matchup for him. Now, financially wise, I would be like, yeah, he should fight me. But like on the outside looking in, knowing boxing, you can really get hurt. So I would just tell him, like, if you're going to continue to fight, don't get in the ring with a guy like me.
Yeah. There's a popular adage in sports, kind of gets reused over again. It's kind of cliche. Father Time is undefeated. 38 years old. We see a lot of athletes now go into the late 30s and 40s and produce at a high level. How much longer do you want to do this?
I don't know.
No clue yet? Did beating Canelo make you think about those next steps in any way, or?
Before Canelo, I was thinking about a lot, you know, and I'm still thinking about a lot. I just haven't made my final decision. But once I make it, I'm going to make it, you know. And
Beyond the public drama, many dedicated fans believe there is a deeper concern that supports Terence Crawford choosing not to return on platforms like Reddit. Discussions often focus on the complex politics within boxing. Canelo Alvarez remains one of the sport's biggest financial attractions and is now building his own promotional brand. Because of that, some supporters worry that if Crawford accepted a rematch, powerful interests might lean in favor of protecting the sport's most valuable draw. There is fear that even with a strong performance, Crawford could risk a controversial decision on the scorecards designed to preserve Canelo's market appeal. From that perspective, many see little reason for Crawford to step back into a situation that could carry unnecessary risk outside the ring.
I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, you know, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit. But don't give up. Keep going until you hit him. I think rematch with Canelo would be the best thing for him to do.
But if Terence Crawford decided to return from retirement and face Canelo Alvarez in a 2026 rematch, it would immediately become one of the sport's biggest events. However, many analysts argue it could end badly. For Canelo, the original fight was not a narrow decision. Crawford controlled large portions of the bout and dictated the pace. Experts believe a second meeting would only reinforce that gap, with some commentators summarizing the outlook by saying the rematch would not favor Canelo based on how the first contest unfolded.
Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez are apparently in talks for a rematch in 2026. And my only question is why? Why? Outside of a massive payday, the first fight wasn't necessarily a competitive fight. And if they do it again, I think it's going to be less competitive. I don't think this is going to go very well for one Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Wade directly criticized the weaknesses he believes appear in every fight for Canelo Alvarez. Regardless of opponent, he highlighted issues such as standing flat without enough movement and failing to throw punches in high-volume problems that were also visible in the original bout against Terence Crawford. Crawford capitalized on those shortcomings and controlled the action on fight night. According to Wade, Canelo still needs significant improvement in training before considering a rematch. While Crawford already possesses the tactical understanding and experience to replicate his previous success, meaning he would enter a second fight with an established blueprint for victory.
I don't know how this goes well for Canelo in a rematch. Honestly, you look at the first fight, and the things that plagued Canelo were essentially the things that plague him against most boxers. His flat feet, his lack of movement, his lack of volume. He couldn't get to Terence. He was overextending. He was getting caught with counter shots as he overextended. The big shown around, memed, and replayed moment of the fight is Canelo trying to throw a hook and a right hand, and Terence Crawford slipping on the outside and banging the left-hand counter behind it. Canelo was beaten to the punch from distance. He was beaten in exchanges, and even in points in the fight, he was beaten inside by Terence Crawford. This was I wouldn't say dominant, but I would say more one-sided than I thought win for Terence Crawford, where he flat out outboxed Canelo, and he took Canelo's power. Like, there were times where Canelo landed the big right hand, and Terence Crawford took it. So what would be different if they fought again? The only different thing that potentially could happen would be in Canelo's hands. He would have to find ways to be different, and as much as I would love to believe that's possible, Canelo getting up there in age, I understand Terence Crawford is older, but Terence Crawford already fights at a way that's advantageous versus Canelo. He doesn't really have to change much, and he's fighting up a couple of weight classes from where he normally did, so he doesn't have to really worry about a weight cut either, and he's filled into that weight class because he looked just as big, if not bigger, that Canelo Alvarez did on fight night. So the question is,
Wade explained that the only way Terence Crawford can be defeated is if Canelo Alvarez brings his absolute best performance to the ring. He referred to one of Canelo's earlier bouts, which is considered among his strongest examples, and stated that the Mexican champion must fix the errors he previously made and approach the rematch with full intensity and aggression, leaving no room for hesitation if he hopes to succeed against Crawford.
Realistically think Canelo could and should and would do differently for this fight is he would have to fight Terence Crawford like he fought Sergey Kovalev at 175. That's genuinely what he would have to do. He'd have to be lighter on his feet, he'd have to throw more combinations, and he'd have to be quicker with his hands, as he was in that fight. And I'm not saying that he changes everything about himself. Canelo had success in moments with Bud Crawford, but that's what he would have to do, and some, right? He would have to be able to add layers to his game and not be so flat-footed. And if he's going to combination punch, he's got to do so in the fire with Terence Crawford, which going into the first fight, I didn't think Terence Crawford was going to have as much success with his combination punching because he'd have to be in front of the powerful hands of Canelo. But again, he was able to do so off the back foot and front because Canelo threw one at a time. He threw the jab or the right hand, or he threw the hook right hand. And again, Terence Crawford remained mostly southpaw, which does give Canelo problems because now he has to lead with his backhand versus punctuate with it, and his jab gets neutralized, and it's just a mess of a fight for Canelo. It really is. I don't hate that he wants to get that back, and the matchup itself is, again, one of the only ones that Canelo can still have. Make a shit ton of money and potentially not completely kill his